Migration. When someone says this word to you, what do you think about? What do you feel? Maybe you hear this word and feel hatred, or maybe you feel guilt. Many might visualize people of different ethnicity sneaking across borders, jumping over gates, or even crawling under barbed wire. But is this really what we should believe? Is this the definition of migration? Can we really judge a migrant based upon the things that have been said about them? Is it all true? Or should we instead be thinking about why they are here, what they bring to this country, their stories, or simply who they really are? At XP and XP East, our latest expedition in Year 8 focused around the guiding question, why should we care about migration? We've explored the concept of migration and the pros and cons of migrating to other countries. We have also analysed various reasons as to why individuals migrate. The title of this expedition was, Should I Stay or Should I Go?
We have been on a journey with our expedition, Should I Stay or Should I Go? But not a physical journey of thousands of miles, like some of the people we've been able to meet. At the start of our expedition, we tried to find out as much as we could about migration, asking questions such as, what is a migrant? What are the different types of migration? And what leads people to migrate?
To build a picture of the historical context of migration, we began reading Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. This led us into a discussion about why people were forced to move in 1920s and 1930s America. We learnt about the Great Depression and the 6 main causes, including the Dust Bowl, agriculture, and the Wall Street crash. Studying the characters of George and Lenny, we learnt to develop an understanding of why people migrate.
At this point, we wanted to bring the expedition a little closer to home. We started to examine migration in modern society, particularly in our hometown of Doncaster. Our research led us to a charity called the Conversation Club, an organisation which offers a place to meet and integrate for those seeking asylum who have been housed in the Doncaster area. They provide English teaching, health guidance, cultural orientation, comfort for those in need, and so much more.
Some of us were lucky enough to visit the Conversation Club and get a feel for the place and get to know the people who go there every week. In our short visit, we learned a lot.
I found that really shocking because I wouldn't like to do that and just leave my family.
They were very friendly and they felt comfortable answering our questions.
You'd never really hear a story from that, from a regular person from the UK, but the fact that it's an actual human being that's have to face through all these hardships at once is quite scary.
The first person I spoke to, he was actually really happy, and he, even though in the situation he was in the bad situation that he could possibly in, he was trying to be the happiest he actually could and try to be as free as he could.
Yeah, it was like very daunting when you were like walking in, because it was just like a new environment for us, because I don't think anyone like that went there has been there before. It was just quite strange, but the people that were there were like very nice and generous. Like even when we were walking out, like people like offering you food and stuff, and everyone was really nice that was there.
It was just like quite daunting really that people have to go through that, because they're just human beings, and it's just horrible that some people don't accept them and they have to go through that just to be in a safe place.
After this experience, we knew we'd only scratched the surface of our exploration of migration. Nick from the Conversation Club was kind enough to join us in both XP and XP East and ran an interesting session for us on the journey that some asylum seekers make to the UK. The session took the form of an interactive game of chance, where we were split into groups to represent different groups of migrants, some travelling from Sudan and others from Syria. At each stage of the game, we had to pick a number from 1 to 6 and roll a corresponding dice to represent the chance of succeeding. We soon realised how difficult and elaborate the journey was for these people.
So again, are you able to afford the travel documents? Choose 2 numbers in the guess column, 2 numbers, and they've both got to be correct.
With over 50 of us in the session, there were only a handful of us who succeeded on a single turn. Although the session was light-hearted, we realised how difficult and traumatic the journey can be for migrants.
Lee's push and pull theory was a model we looked at when considering migration theories. The theory suggests that when someone is considering moving, they must consider the push factors in their place of origin and the pull factors at their desired destination. Push factors, things that make people want to leave their home country, often include problems like violence, housing shortages, jobs shortages, low wages, politics, war, crime and segregation. Pull factors, reasons why their destination is more desirable, include things such as better healthcare, good sanitation, job opportunities, safety, democracy, resources and infrastructure. Through the study of Lee's push and pull theory, we learn that there are many decisions to be made before considering leaving one place and moving to another, and just how difficult this can be.
During Nick's first visit to school, he left us with a thought that resonated with us. Migrants are real people, just like us, with families and hopes. After studying how the media has covered the topic of migration over the last few years, we realised how much it is done to dehumanise individuals who claim asylum in the UK. In particular, we looked at these famous examples from recent years.
When this article was published, suddenly a statistic was made real. It touched our humanity and our hearts. And what better way to connect with other people than to sit and talk? We invited a group of migrants from the Conversation Club to our school to share their stories with us. As we sat and listened, we heard stories of hardship from people who had travelled from all kinds of places around the world to feel safer in the United Kingdom. We were compassionate and made our visitors feel as comfortable as we could, only asking questions that they felt okay answering.
One of the individuals who spoke to us on that day was Ahmed. He was kind enough to talk to us on camera and share his story.
I am Ahmed Mahmoud Khalifa. I am Sudanese. Sudan is the second biggest country in Africa. It is in the Middle East Africa. Before 2012, we are the biggest country, but we became two countries, North Sudan and South Sudan.
Was that because of war?
Yeah, the long war in Africa from 1954 until 2005. The police border in the airport are very kind. They said to me, we have to be honest with us, tell us the true story, and nothing will happen to you. I told them what happened exactly, and they took me to place, gave me food, and then took me to a hostel in London. Stayed there for 2 or 4 days, and then took me to Wakefield Hostel, Urban House. After that, I came here, and after I came here, I called my family through Red Cross, and it's okay. Here is very, very good town, and very helpful people. Nick, Julia, John, Dennis, very helpful, and they help us in many ways, to speak English, because it's important to speak English, and to have journey and trips, and one day they organize barbecue for us. It is very nice day, and also there is English class. I knew many people, and there is activities like playing, like chatting, like I have a sense of belonging to this town. It really helps me. It's okay, it's good. Now I'm okay.
We also spoke to Nick from the Conversation Club about how he felt the experience was for our visitors.
Well, for me, I'm always delighted to be able to come and help the children experience, or at least meet some of the asylum seekers, and put a human face to a problem that is generally a very third-party kind of thing. You're not involved in it. You see numbers in the papers, you see statistics, and that's who they are. But when you put a personal face to it, that is, makes a whole new, puts a whole new aspect on things. As far as the people I brought are concerned, I've been going around and looking at their expressions, and they're totally different to what I see on a Thursday when they come to our drop-in. They are very relaxed, genuine smiles, laughter, and I've noticed this before when I've got them away from their environment as asylum seekers. We take them dancing, we take some of them dancing once a month to a country dancing, barn dance event, and the joy on their face makes it all worthwhile. And it's because they're meeting other people, fresh faces, they're meeting English people, they're experiencing a different culture and learning something about England, and it is distracting them totally from their problems of trying to live on £37 a week in very poor quality accommodation. £37 a week, you've got no money for any kind of entertainment or distraction. So they sit in their rooms with nothing to do all day for months and months on end.
Talking to the migrants was an eye-opening experience, and we learnt a lot during the short time we spent with them.
It's all right looking at like photos and like hearing stories of that, but when you actually speak to them, it's like different.
Actually meeting them just makes it like more real, and it just proves that we're really privileged to be safe in this country, and being in this country is like a far dream for many people.
I think it's like quite shocking that they're having to move to the country because their life's at risk.
Yeah, you never know if you're going to go back, you know, because you might have to stay because you don't know what's going to happen. But just leaving your family, like you can contact them and everything, but you won't be able to see them really. I think they should be treated like people, not like illegal people.
I agree, because people should stay because they should be treated all the same because everyone is who they are.
After spending time with the migrants, we knew we wanted to give them some support. A group of us met to discuss how we're going to do this and decided what we're going to do next.
Okay, so what do you think our society can do about asylum seekers in England? That's my first question.
Since we talked to the asylum seekers, I think that it was very important for them to get the word out about how difficult it is for asylum seekers to make their way across, and how the government could put in more support for them to help the journey not be so difficult.
So like in the newspapers, they're like just saying negative things about them, and they don't just like say all the positives.
People don't understand what the asylum seekers actually go through, and they don't understand how hard it is to live in a new society, in a new group of people.
So, like, how would you feel if you was an asylum seeker and you wasn't getting, like, respect?
So, like, people say, like, you should treat other people the way you want to be treated, but then it's just, like, they think it's different for the asylum seekers, because, like, they don't get treated, like, as good as they should because of what they've been through.
But what could we as XP school help? How could we help asylum seekers?
What I think we could do is just like spend more time with them, give them a bit more company so they feel more welcome and they're not just getting negative stuff all the time.
I think we need to spend more time with them to show that they're not alone and that there are other people that can help them. We could make events that they can come to and we can share it with them.
Building on that, in Crews we could organise activities where we meet the asylum seekers, or we could visit the Conversation Club where they all meet up.
We could just simply invite them in and talk to them, see if there's anything on the mind, see if they need any help, whether they're struggling with anything.
What sorts of specific things could we do to make this make life better for them? So we've talked a few suggestions, but specifically, what are we actually going to do?
We could play games with them, or do something so they have someone to play games with, because at home they might not have any friends to talk to or anything.
I think when we're playing the games, we could play board games like we did with Age UK.
We could do a bake sale for them, and because obviously that'll be raising money, and then the money will go towards maybe a bike for them or something, so they don't have to pay.
I think that it's really important that we raise money for bikes for them, because the asylum seekers get £37 a week from the government to spend, and if you really think about it, that's not that much to spend on food, toiletries, any essentials that they need, as well as a bus fare or something to get them to the conversation club.
I feel like it shouldn't be like a one-off thing. I feel like we should go back to them maybe once every year or something and build a relationship, so we know they're okay, and we know they're not they know it's not a one-off thing. They're going to constantly get help.
Echoing what Jake said, I think that it is really important that we form a relationship with the conversation club and asylum seekers in general, and we build that support network from the school to the community around us, and we give back to our community like the community gave to us.
So we got to work. Within a few days, we'd started raising money for the migrants to buy them some bikes. During break times, we put on several bake sales which proved really popular.
And how's it going?
It's going good. This table was full of stuff and now most of it's gone.
We also started planning a sponsored walk around Lakeside. We set a date in the calendar and collected sponsors from our friends and families. Before we even set foot on the walk, we received a tremendous amount of support, and we were really grateful for it. The day came and it was a cold one, but it didn't stop us getting out there. Some of us even ran the circuit and we had great fun.
During the time we were fundraising, we also decided to do something a little different. After hearing Nick's reaction to their first visit to the school, we invited our new friends back to the school. They'd been kind enough to share their stories with us, so we decided to do something fun for them. We prepared 2 sessions of games and minute to win it competitions to play and had such a wonderful time.
We are playing games with students, and it's important for me because I spend good time and laughing and sharing very cheerful moments and playing with children, with the students, and it change my mood. They make my day really.
We decided the best thing to do was to use the money we raised to buy as many bikes as we could for our new friends. We wanted to buy them something they could use every day that helps them connect with the community and get around without having to use any money. The money that was left over was given to the Conversation Club to help with their ongoing projects.
Our guys having bikes is a huge benefit for them because they want to socialise, they want to get about, and without a bike they have to walk basically, they can't afford to go on buses. So we always have a need for a supply of bikes, and it's very much welcome. Thank you very much everybody.
Looking back over the expedition, we have certainly learned a lot. We started in the classroom with an idea of what migration is and challenged ourselves to dig a little deeper. What we have found on our own doorstep was extraordinary, and getting out into our community has made all the difference to our perspective.
But as the expedition comes to a close, what happens now? Of course, we'll keep in touch with our new friends. We'll continue to do our best to understand and support the community around us. But most importantly, we'll carry their stories and experiences with us for the rest of our lives. Because migrants are people just like us, with families and hopes, with stories that deserve to be told.
What is your favourite English food? Is there anything that you really like when you go out to eat, or if you have any food over here, is there anything that you particularly like?
Fish and chips.